Karen, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Awkward smile. Wouldn't be you without the awkward smile.
Like always.
Yeah. Okay, Karen, so this is part of a series called Sensei Diaries. I've already told you about that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be asking you some questions about life in Japan, what you're up to. How long have you been in Japan?
I've been here around 1.5 years now.
1.5 years.
Yeah.
Does it feel like that time has passed by really quickly, or does it feel like you've been here for ages?
It feels like I've been here for ages.
Yeah.
But the first year went slower than this year. This year is just flying by for me.
So what do you put that down to?
I think it's because I'm getting used to things now.
What do you do when you're not working?
Oh, mainly I play football.
Yeah.
I edit my YouTube videos, and I play ocarina. And recently I'm also trying to cook a little bit more because I've been holding off.
Do you rate your cooking skills?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. How would you look back on your time in Japan so far? Is it a good experience? Has it been mixed?
Overall, really good.
Yeah, overall really good.
Yes, because I've always wanted to come to Japan. I came without expectations.
Yeah.
Like I knew that even if it was a bad experience, that it was also going to be good for me because it's something I just needed to get off my chest and out of my system.
You mean it's something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, exactly.
So why was that, do you think? Why do you think it was Japan that you absolutely wanted to try life in for so long?
Well, firstly because I am half Japanese, but also I really resonate with Japanese culture. And I always wondered what it would have been like if I grew up in Japan. So I wanted to experience it.
I see.
That's the main thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And after having spent like a year and a half, did you say it was, in Japan?
Yeah.
At this point, would you say that you feel more Dutch or more Japanese? I know you feel like a bit of both. Everyone does, right?
Yeah.
But if you had to choose, like, I feel 60% Japanese or 40% Dutch at this point, which one would it be?
I'd say 70% Japanese,
I feel 70% Japanese.
30% Dutch. But it's funny because I actually thought it was like 90% Japanese, 10% Dutch. But I also definitely have Dutch aspects to me as well.
Yeah.
It's what I realized by living in Japan.
So, I guess my next question would be, do you feel more Dutch than you did when you arrived in Japan?
I do. Yes.
Okay. So coming to Japan has actually made you feel more like where you originally came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
It is quite interesting, yeah. I mean, like, I suppose when I went to Korea, I experienced the same thing. I realized how un-Korean I was when I went to Korea, so I can relate to that, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you've got some projects going on. You've got your football/futsal, and with football, I think get a bit more specific. There's something that you're working on within football as well, right?
Yes, so I want to become an all-round good football player,
Yeah.
but I also have a massive goal that I want to become a freestyler.
You want to become a freestyler.
Yeah, and I've decided that it's going to happen. Yeah,
Fantastic.
like 100%.
Yeah. You've got no reason not to believe it now. It would have been a lot harder to believe in the beginning when you could barely lift it up 3 or 4 times. But now you're trying lots of different things, so no reason to believe it won't happen, right?
Exactly.
And how long have you been doing that?
A little bit more than a year now. Yeah, last year April is when I picked up a ball again, actually, and I decided I'm doing this. No excuses.
Are you pleased with your progress within that time?
Yes, I am. But it's crazy. I can talk about it for hours.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, it was weird. I thought I couldn't do it, but I just continued. And somehow I overcame just by continuing, basically.
And ocarina as well, like when did that hobby start, and what was it about ocarina? Like there's so many musical instruments, there's violin, there's piano, there's guitar, like why was it ocarina for you?
Yes, so I started ocarina beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before you came to Japan?
Before I came to Japan, yes. And the reason I picked ocarina was because I love Legend of Zelda, and it just came to my mind. I thought,
I think Zelda pretty much explains it, doesn't it?
yeah. I just thought, why not?
Yeah.
I knew it was pretty niche, but I could visualize myself playing it
Yeah.
and taking it with me everywhere.
Yeah.
So I just gave it a crack, and yeah, it was a good fit.
Yeah, and speaking of Ocarina and Kick-Ups, you've got video diaries and vlogs recording your progress from day one to where you are now, feeling quite confident in both things. You're doing that on YouTube, right?
Yes, that's right, I am.
And how do you, well, I mean, the YouTube channel itself is its own journey, just like the Ocarina and the futsal and the learning to be a freestyler, right?
Yes.
The YouTube itself is its own journey of growth, right?
Definitely.
So, like, how does that compare? Because with Ocarina and with football, it's very much just a case of practicing. It's quite simple, right? You know what you need to do, and you need to do it a certain amount of times, hundreds of times, thousands of times. But it's not really complicated. But with YouTube, I think there's a whole different layer to that, right? There's a whole lot more you have to consider, think about. How's that been for you, like in terms of the differences between that project and like becoming a freestyler or becoming good at Ocarina? How do the two things compare?
You already hit the nail on the head, but they're completely different things.
Right.
I think the main challenge for YouTube for me has been the storytelling aspect. Many people think, oh, I just film myself and people will be interested in you. But there's so much more that comes to play.
Yeah.
People need to be hooked, not only by your story, but also visually, how you present it, and what words you use, and everything is important. And gotta be honest with you, that aspect is still a challenge for me, that I'm trying to figure out how to improve.
Do you feel like you're starting to pick it up now though? Like the habits and like the tricks and like, the catchphrases and the angles?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just, I feel the thing I'm struggling with is that I don't I find public vlogging quite uncomfortable.
Yes.
And therefore it's hard for me to get B-roll. So it's very often just me in the room. And I understand why that can be a little bit boring. People want to see different angles and different things. So that's something I need to work on and need to challenge myself more.
Yeah, but probably a lot more comfortable with sharing a lot of things that you weren't in the beginning doing YouTube, right?
Oh,
like
totally.
before the first video that you made public, I'm sure that you had lots of fears and things that you were worried about, right?
That's so true.
So like the more you do it, I guess you get more daring with these things. So
yes.
It's like, I guess it's quite similar to Kick-Ups in the beginning. You wouldn't even dream of like trying some of the skills that you're trying right now, right?
So
and it's the same thing with Ocarina. You wouldn't dare try Megalovania or something like that in the beginning. So I'm asking this as if I don't know. Of course I do know. What do you do for a living in Japan?
Oh, I teach English. You are my boss.
I'll cut that one out. Yes.
So I teach English for adults and for kids.
For adults and for kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And for those watching, anybody would assume that teaching kids is more challenging because you have more resistance. Kids are much more honest about their negative feelings. They don't hesitate to tell you. They lie down on the floor and stuff. But what aspects of teaching kids do you find rewarding?
Can I think about that for a moment?
You need to think about that one, don't you?
Yeah. Because I do find it rewarding too. I'd say the main thing would be, of course, if I see they're making progress in their English.
Right.
But also if I'm able to teach them to be proper human beings or decent human beings as well.
Yes.
Recently that has been more clicking for me as well. That it's not just about teaching kids about, teaching them English, so teaching them the language. It's also about guiding them to become decent human beings too.
Yeah, I mean, communication is the tool of making relationships.
Yeah.
And when you make relationships with people, you don't want to mess it up, right?
Exactly.
You want to get along with people, you want to make good relationships, you want to leave a positive impact on people, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to have the basic communication tools, but you also need the personality to use it.
Yes.
And to not abuse it or to not mess it up, So
They really go hand in hand.
They do. They absolutely do. Yeah. Like, if you just look at the way the Japanese language is set up, almost everything in Japanese language is set up to create harmony, to create peace, to establish manners. You know what I mean? And if you look at the English language, it's set up in a way in which people can express what they want, what they desire, what they're going for. You know? Going back to what you were talking about, not just seeing progress in their English, but also in their personality as well, seeing them become decent human beings as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Would you say that you've managed to do that with a few kids so far?
A little bit.
Yeah, no, you have. You have.
Yeah?
You have. You definitely have.
Yeah.
You really have. Yeah.
It's something that's clicking for me more and more. So, yeah, I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
But definitely, like always, I'm still growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know. And with teaching, with teaching adults, I guess you've been doing it for a while now, and yeah, you are a very good teacher. I can definitely say that. What would be the best pieces of advice that you could give for someone just starting out as a language teacher?
I'd say the most important thing is to stay strong in your kids. Because I noticed that the moments when I'm not performing well as a teacher, it's because I doubt myself and my ability. So I know that I know, so I just tell the student with confidence. And the student will also feel better when you do that. That has been the main thing for me. Because when you start out, you always feel imposter syndrome. And more I'm realizing that's just a natural feeling to have. But you have the skill and the knowledge, just do it. That's basically the biggest magical trick I use.
Right. Fantastic. And what do you like? Because you mentioned ocarina and futsal and learning skills and football. You're also doing kickboxing as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes. How have you found that so far?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
It's more out of my comfort zone than football, actually.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Yeah, I learned to hit people.
You learn to defend yourself.
I learned to defend myself. It's good for me.
Yeah.
I really like it because it's out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
To be able to
Defend yourself.
defend myself if so necessary. That is very empowering, and I can see the value in that. And that's why I want to continue the kickboxing.
Brilliant. Like, so I guess if we were to summarize what adds flavor to your life, I guess the takeaway point I've been getting from this Q&A so far is you get stimulation from some kind of growth. Right. I guess the final thing I want to ask Karen is you've been touching on it quite a lot, like growing in self-confidence and getting better at things and learning to trust your ability and learning to tell yourself that I know I've got this. How much would you say that's changed since you came to Japan?
Yes. So much has changed.
Yeah.
I'm a completely different person to who I was before. And all those things we were mentioning, the ocarina, something new, football, teaching kids, it all helped with me becoming this version of myself. And by the way, still, I have a lot of growing to do, but yeah, when I was younger, I never followed through with stuff.
Yeah, like I guess what you mean is you really had a habit of quitting things halfway before, but now you just don't see that as an option, right?
It's not an option.
It's not an option to you anymore,
No.
right? Yeah. And that's a big change, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can really be proud of yourself for that. Karen, would you mind if I joined you for a kick-up session for like the next Sensei Diaries, and then you can maybe you can show me a trick or two, because I can do kick-ups to a certain level, but I've never tried the trick. So maybe you teach me for a change instead of me teaching you.
Yeah, sure.
Would you mind if I joined you?
No, I don't mind.
Yeah, and perhaps for an ocarina session. Although I'm not going to blow on your ocarina. That's all right. So definitely the next one, I'll join you for a kick-up session.
Yeah, Arakawa River.
Arakawa River.
That's where I go now.
Yeah, but you know, I'll cut that out. I don't want stalkers.
Oh yeah, right. A special place.
Yes. All right, good. Yeah, thanks for joining me, Karen.
Thank you for having me.
Karen, do you mind if I ask you one question? What the hell is a karinto?
Best snack in the world.
Is that what it is? Is that actually what it is?
Yeah,
Really?
it's a Japanese snack.
If I look up karinto now, would I find it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let me have a look at this then.
Yeah.
Karinto.
Karinto.
Japanese snack.
Very yummy snack.
It looks like a sausage. Alright. It doesn't look too appetizing at first sight though.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
No? Okay, right. Okay, now I know.
Me, you know?
Tall girl, tall building.